Hey guys, my morning recap real quick here. Basically, you saw the implied volatilities get jacked to the moon going into the close yesterday. So basically, what we're set up here for today, after we see which direction the markets are wanting to go to finish the week off, they're implying a move greater than 4% on the major indices, and we're only about 2.8%. So we can very easily coming down and touching this trend today at the 28.40 41 area. Will be a potential support area. Yeah, 28.50. Yeah, 28.40, 28.50 area. That would be well within the realm of possibilities for today, seeing what's going on in these markets. We are trading down on lighter volume. I would have liked to see more participation on the volume side to the downside, so that's why I'm kind of I'm with if since the volatility is jacked so high, I'm very hesitant to try to buy the dip or anything like that. But I would have liked to see an across the board volume supporting the sell off, and we're just actually getting a liquidation across the board instead, and high bid ask spreads, um, and driving prices lower this morning. Okay, basically crashing down in NQs. We know where it's going. It's going to the 200 day. So the bottom's not in yet. We're over 3% down on the Qs. So keep that in mind going forward here. That's a situation setting up here. We'll just keep that on the back burner here. And then the Russell, we are literally pushing out below um, swing lows, which we've already tested once before. We are trying to have a breakdown pattern on the Russell here. And we got the OPEC coming out later today. It's around 10 o'clock, I think, or something like that. It's all hinging on Russia to cut their production by 500,000 barrels a day, which, and honestly, it's in their best interest not to even do it. By allowing crude oil to crash, it will get a lot of the U.S. producers out of the market, and then prices can actually start. If they do that, then maybe they can start getting prices back up to $70, $80 a barrel. I'm not sure what they're going to do, but just keep that in mind going forward here. That we could have some significant. We're already having significant pressure in the oil space. If you go look at your crude oil this morning, it's one of the worst performers for the morning session, um, down 4% already on the crude oil. They must be already expecting very little aid from Russia this morning, and this is basically a triple bottom pattern uh, with potential. I don't even see support to the 42.22 area. So if they just come out and do as I'm expecting, we're going to be going to $42 a barrel probably today on the crude oil, because this is a complete and total outright breakdown pattern, and there's no sense buying the dip whenever we've already got responsive support area at the 42 area. That's actually supporting even further downside pressure in these markets, in my opinion. We have record low yields on the treasuries. We're going into parabolic territory here on our treasuries this morning, below 80 basis points. Um, so we marked a high. Looks like we're coming off a little bit. So total panic going on here in the markets. Just going to find any safe haven they can possibly go to. Also got a bid in our gold, but it's not quite as pronounced as some of the other markets. But the continuation and the go to the upside quite likely today, considering we are probably expecting a 4% or greater move at some point today in most of these indices, in my opinion. So keep it with crude being a major tailwind, or a dragging force lower on these markets. So keep that in mind going forward here on some of these things. All the sectors, every single one of them, marking lower this morning across the board. It's a broad sell off. So keep that in mind. going forward here. Like I said, the semiconductors yesterday, I wasn't seeing any type of supporting action in the leaderboard in my last video, and suggesting we're going to get to sell off this morning. And boy, it is looking ugly. And typically Fridays here lately, they have been selling Fridays. A lot of selling pressure on the Fridays anyway. And here we are early on, crashing down to basically March monthly support levels are hitting across the board today. So keep that in mind going forward in your trading. Let's see here on our S&P 500s. AMD, well, it looks like it's broken it now. It was trying to hold a bid above the close on Advanced Micro. That's kind of surprising, seeing the relative weakness in the semiconductors. But they were trying to hold the current prices on AMD so far this morning, unlike most areas in the markets. Okay, um, they're breaking down Apple. But look at these anemic volumes. Here it is, almost 6 o'clock in the morning, and there's been a lot of days that we've been over 200,000 shares at 6 o'clock in the morning on these, and they're just very anemic volumes so far to the downside. So that's something you may want to keep in mind in the back of your head, that the pushing pressure to the downside is quite anemic. Uh, Basically set up for a potential short squeeze if the markets were to decide to catch a bid. And boy, some of these like Facebook and Google, who are both ad companies, they're both getting rocked because of the slowdown in the airlines and leisure and travel space. The news is coming out how the ad revenue is really going to be shortfalls going into this quarter. And I had mentioned that earlier this week. I was quite bearish on Google, and boy, it's really showing up in Google this morning, really taking it on the chin. And I think these are really going to be under pressure going into the rest of the day today. We're going to start seeing a lot of downside force pressure in Facebook and Google in the coming weeks, in my opinion, based on what's going on here in the global markets. Continued pressure, Delta downside, uh, Carnival, American Airlines, all these are coronavirus related. They just, completely breaking down the whole sector, all these sectors. So keep that in mind going forward here. Gilead, even Gilead, they're bringing in. That was one of my bullish patterns, and it's holding up better than most, but something to keep on watch here. It is holding up a little bit better than most here, and that potential bottoming signal that I had yesterday's close, they've just completely given it all back here on Disney. And Boeing's as a breakdown pattern too, leading to the downside. So you have to be extremely careful. We're below 1900 uh, on Amazon, so they are just taking Amazon to the woodshed along with the rest of the markets. So that's another thing you have to keep on watch here. So, but like I said, Google is one of the ones leading to the downside, um, based on that breaking news of ad revenue shortfalls going forward here this week. Okay. Uh, okay. I was going to show you. Oops, don't have a link, do I? Okay. Transport's getting a walloping here. I just wanted to bring this up on the 20-year. Let me take this off here. Can't really see it. Let me change charts. 1 second here. Oh, come on. Let me pause it for a sec. Okay, I guess I'm still doing. I'll have to work on my chart here. Look at your transports here. We've looked below this trend line before in the past. Okay, we're looking back below it again on our transports. And this is a pattern, a trend. This is a secondary confirmation. We have literally a trend breakdown in process on our transports. This is actually setting up as a head for right left shoulder for a right shoulder. Um, so basically, we are in the midst of a technical breakdown in our transports. We're probably going to be hitting that swing low today, the 155.74 area. It's still early in the markets, but this is probably a where we are going. The swing low. We're going to be awfully close to that on the close today, likely going forward here. So keep that in mind. They are just absolutely destroying these transports, and there's no reason to think the carnage is anywhere close to being over. And basically, um, once we start, I don't know if today or maybe Monday, this is a very, very dangerous area. See how we rocketed up here? Yeah, a very dangerous area for a substantial breakdown in our transports going into next week. So, just something to keep in the back of your mind that the transports are looking very dangerous. And there's some, the carnage seems to be, could very easily just be starting for a much greater downtrend turn for the transports going forward here. Okay, my Nasdaq scan. Tesla's just absolutely getting rocked. There was reports out that they've been putting subpar parts in their Chinese automobiles, the semiconductors, um, trying to cut costs and didn't disclose it or so whatever. So you're going into a new market like China, trying to have a discount vehicle uh, into entering the China market, and now the illusion is sure they're selling the market to the Chinese with substandard um, internals. So that is a very, very bad headline for Tesla, considering everything else. And there's reports out today that one of the ministers in China come out and said the first quarter is going to have zero growth. Okay, and that's on the headlines on top of everything else. And then if that's not bad enough, they had 14% declines on imports. Yeah, imports, and then 15% decline on exports the past 2 months. Okay, so we did this great big trade deal supposedly with China, and buddy, and they've cut their imports by 14% since this in the first 2 months. So this is that whole trade deal thing that was just fluff. They just wanted to get that behind them, signing that paperwork to get it behind them so they could deal with this virus thing. And boy, I tell you what, but basically across the board, there's just nothing showing any type of life here. So just keep that in mind going forward here in your trading today in the today's session. And I'll finish it off with this morning session. My 52-week low scan going into today. We are marking new lows for the year. In Wynn Resorts, we're going to be opening up with new 52-week lows in Wynn Resorts, Carnival, American Airlines, Boeing, Royal Caribbean, Budweiser, FedEx, Macy's, United Airlines, JetBlue, Halliburton. We also have banks, Wells Fargo, 52-week low on Wells Fargo. Royal Bank of Scotland. Let's see here. What else we got here? Yeah, looking really bad in the transportation, and it's pretty broad here. Mainly the banking, airlines, hotel space. Consumer discretionary areas of the markets are getting rocked into this morning's session. So just keep that in mind going forward here. Now we're getting a little bit lower volumes down here, but I think it's important to keep these other things on your radar too. As far as 52 weeks lows go, U.S. Steel's 52-week low. Um, just always keep this on the back of your mind. What's happening here? Oracle's completely breaking down here. Um, Expedia 52-week lows. I don't see booking on here yet, but booking's probably through here somewhere. So, yeah, this gives you a real quick idea of what's going on here. You travel and leisure space, you just do not even want to be touching that area right now. So, and the transports, seeing FedEx putting 52-week lows in, that is quite concerning here going forward in this market, and especially when you think, Amazon's actually going to have some pretty good, should have some pretty good. So basically, if we got FedEx, but we're right here at a support level, but to complete the pattern, you have to come all the way down here. So it looks like FedEx has got another $8 to the downside potential setting up here on FedEx. So this pattern is not, and that's the breakout level too. So keep that in mind. This is the breakout level and the test to complete the complete pattern. So this is really, really looking bad for, FedEx will probably, help. It's one of the leaders on the transports. So, really looking bad that the transports are even going to get worse as the session goes on today. Okay, that's everything for the morning video. I wasn't even planning on doing one, but things were so dramatic today. I just felt like I had to do something. Like the video if you like it, and please make comments below and stuff, and you know, maybe we can find some scalp opportunities in today's trading session and make some pretty good money. But I do really think that with the VIVIX and the VIX being so heightened here, the buyers just absolutely shut down, and we're going to be searching for lower lows going or lower lows for the month starting later today or next month. And we are breaking down on the XLF. We are breaking down monthly lows on a lot of the banks this morning. So just keep that in check on your thing, on your watch here. We are breaking down below this trend line, this fib fan line. We are going to be opening down below that for right here at range lows, likely on the XLF. And a lot of the banks were already putting in below 50, below the March lows for the morning session. So keep that in mind. The financials are leading to the downside.